Hello, welcome to Sephra's World. I am Sephra, and this is my world. It's been so long since I've done that. Yes, I've been away for a while, but now I'm back. And I'd actually made another whole video, but there's just too much blathering on about where I've been and why I'm back. But I'm here, and this is all we're going to talk about because the video is too long already. So where I've been over the last year, just giving you a sense of where I'm going and where I've been, because it is September 21st, 2023. So we are in the fall equinox. It's seasons, harvesting, the solstice, the fall is coming, all that. It changes in a couple days, right? So this is a time where they're gathering the harvest, and so we're preparing for winter. We're canning and freezing and, filling the storage cellars and all that jazz. So in our lives, this is a time to kind of start looking back on what we've been up to over the last year and sort of the things we need to do or want to do moving forward. The school starts now. That's because, the harvest is over and the kids can go back to school or whatever, however they started the school years with their theories. And, but it's again, a cycle for us too. Even if we're not still in school, we're in the school of life. And so it's time to just take a breath, take some time and just check out where you are, where you've been, where you're going, what you're trying to do, what's working for you and what isn't working for you. Sometimes realizing something isn't working out is more important than things that do work out, as we learn from our mistakes and all that jazz, right? But it is true. As I get older, it's sadly so true. Anyway, so over the last year, let's see, I went to New Orleans for World Fantasy. And I actually had a chance to look up my childhood home. I had never seen it except for when I was a baby living there. I only was there a couple of months. So it was cool to do that. I did that with Mandy Slater. We went for a huge, huge, huge hike one day and checked it out. Then, and it is beside Lee Harvey Oswald's house. And so we were trying to figure it out, but then, they don't really have the numbers out for his place because they don't like people poking around like we did. So anyways, so then when I got back from New Orleans, my dad died, and that was completely horrible and devastating, as we all know. And so it was weird. I see my baby birthing home, and then my daddy dies. But anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that for this video. So then a couple months later, a mature student from a single mom at the Toronto Film School asked me if I wanted to be in a movie she was making. And I said, you betcha. Of course I do. And so she made the movie Pandora, and it is about 5 or 6 minutes long, little movie. And so we did that, and actually, just before I made this video, she texted me to say that Pandora has yet another nomination at a film festival. So I just got to flip my page here for a sec. So far, the little film that could, we had a screening for casting crew back, I think in August sometime. And people seem to like it. I liked it. I play the grandmother. And then she entered it in a crap ton of festivals. So the movie has actually won its first award at the Best Thriller Film at the Athens International Monthly Art Film Festival. So that was the very first award it's won. And right now, as far as I know, she always tells me when things are happening. So I believe there's 3 nominations. There's 1 semi-finalist and 1 finalist. So around 5 things we're waiting to hear about. And it's being shown in Toronto First, it'll be shown at the Toronto Film School for all the students and stuff. They're showing a lot of movies at night for all the classes, right? Um, and then on Thursday, October the 5th at 9 o'clock, there's a ladies horror film festival for a couple of hours, and they're all little shorts. So that'll be Thursday, October the 5th, 9 o'clock, the Toronto Indie Horror Festival. Okay, so you can go to their website and check that out. Then on Friday, October the 6th, the very next day, at 9:30, it'll be at the Great Canadian Horror Film Festival. I think it's 9:30. I wonder if it's 7:30. Anyways, you can check that out. The Great Canadian Horror Film Festival on Friday, October the 6th. So a crap ton of films being shown there, and then there's a party after. So that is all super-de-duper exciting. Anyway, so then after that, I went to Pittsburgh for StokerCon. And at StokerCon, I was able to teach a new workshop I've been kind of playing with. And it's now I'm calling it Write a Scary Story. I think at that workshop, it was called The Elements of Writing a Scary Story or something like that. And people had to register in advance to take it. And at StokerCon, it was a 2-hour course. And I had so much fun doing it. I had a PowerPoint and all that, and I got good feedback. And I'm starting to learn what works and what doesn't work with this workshop. And then happened next? Oh yes, I went to Nikon. And this year I was a living legend, and I was. I made a living legend kind of only a couple of months before Nikon, because Weston Oakes was originally supposed to be the living legend this year, but he had to bow out. So they asked me to do it instead. I'm like, of course I will. And then both Wes and I were inducted into the Nikon Hall of Fame. And so I'm in the Hall of Fame now. See, and I got my little bat shirt, my shirt. And it's a thing. It's a cool thing. I guess it's like a cult or something. Nikon, I've been going to since 1989. 1989 was my first year I went to Nikon, and it was like a family. And back then, you had to know someone to go to the secret Nikon place, because they capped it at 200 people, and it was all who you know. There was no internet, no computers, nothing back in those days. It was literally who you know. And Rick Howdala is the one who brought me into the cult. And that's how I met pretty much everyone I know to this day. Best friends, such good friends. And at Nikon this year, I was honored and delighted to give a little speech about Yvonne Navarro, who was definitely one of my dear friends I met at Nikon. And we've lost a lot of people at Nikon, Jack Ketchum, Dallas Mayer, Phil Nutman, Lisa Minetti, Corinne DeWinter. It goes on. And of course, Papa Nikon himself, who started Nikon, he died of cancer a few years back. So Peter Straub. I'm gonna get Charlie Grant. Oh my God, Les Nessman. Oh my God, it wasn't Les Nessman. Oh, Les Daniels. I'm sorry, Les. So many magnificent, wonderful people pass through the halls of Nikon. And Nikon's changed a lot, and now the location has changed as well. And it's a much different animal, of course. We're in 2023. Conventions aren't like they used to be. And it used to be what happens at Nikon stays at Nikon, so you'd never see pictures from Nikon. People didn't really talk about it. If you took pictures, it was almost like cameras are banned for, sometimes. So I took pictures and never posted them. Well, there was no place to post back in the day. There was no internet. But even now, only the last. Well, yeah, I started posting because everyone else was, I guess. But really, it's supposed to be what happens at Nikon stays at Nikon, and that was part of the fun because no, nothing really bad ever happened. It really wasn't a cult. It's just a bunch of horror nerds who like to read scary books, talking till the sun comes up about our nerdy bullshit. That's all it is. Someone whips out a guitar, a few people sing, everybody tries the scotch or the staggering squirrels or eating soggies, wondering who's going to throw up next. The writers' convention. It was so much fun. Oh, it still is. Like I said, it's in a different place. It's not on a college campus anymore, so it doesn't feel like a frat house anymore. Actually, it is on a college campus, I guess, but it feels like it's like a hotel convention. Still lots of fun, still great programming, still great people. And it's bigger now. I think it's bigger than 200 now. I'm not sure though. So then after my Nikon adventures and getting my shirt, getting my plaque on the wall with all the other nerds, or the big famous horror writers, I should say. Oh, to be in the Hall of Fame, I'm not convinced it's about your horror writing ability. I don't know. No one's ever said, because to get into the Hall of Fame, you had to be a guest of honor, which I was many years ago. I was a guest of honor the same year as Brian Keene and Tim Levin. The three of us were quadruple guests of honor. You had to be roasted, and I was roasted. And then I think it had to be, you had to have three things. You had to go more than 10 years or 20 years or whatever. I easily filled. Yeah, there were a few things like that I filled long ago. But, they can only have so many people be indoctrinated in a year. And then I just needed one more, which was to be the Toastmaster, because it used to have to be, they had to be the toast, you had to be guest of honor, roasted and toasted, right? So, and then a couple of the other qualifiers. So I've never been Toastmaster, and that's just fine with me. I don't like being a Toastmaster. So that's good. I like babbling on videos, but not Toastmastering. That's nope. Anyways, so after Nikon, which is now in Lowell, Boston, Massachusetts. Well, outside of Boston, Massachusetts. You fly into Logan Airport. So then after that, we had Fan Expo here in Toronto, and I ran my writing workshop again. So this time I made it 1 hour, and I used PowerPoint, and it's actually not 1 hour, it's about 40 minutes, because of you get 45 minutes for your panel, but I had to set up, I couldn't get the thing to work, and the usual technical bullshit. So the people before me ran over because there had been a fire alarm, so they let them run over, so that made me run over, and then, yeah. So anyways, the usual shit. It's always that way. So I wasn't angry or no, I'm not mad at all. It's like that's how it is. I also did a couple of panels at Fan Expo as well, and at Fan Expo, I pitched a television panel, and they let me run it, and so I called it From Yellow Jackets to Straight Jackets, and so a bunch of us on the panel discussed our favorite TV shows, because that's what you do at Fan Expo, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm pretty sure I took over the panel, but whatever. Sorry, guys. When I pitched it, it's like, yeah, I could just sit there and babble about this by myself, but you sort of need to include other people. Andrew Robertson moderated. And what else? Oh, then we go into, so now here we are. So we just did Fan Expo. So now next up for me is Frightmare in the Falls. So Frightmare in the Falls, let me look at that little sheet again. Frightmare in the Falls is October 27th to the 29th. And I'll be at the Great Lakes Horror Company booth with Andrew Robertson. That's his company. He's a publisher. And then for the last several years at Frightmare in the Falls, we've had a booth, and it's kind of like a horror mall or shopping. We have lots of books. So we have our own books. We have the books that the Great Lakes Horror Company published. And actually, I have a new book being released this year through them. It's actually it's not a new book. It's a reprint, and it's a bit different than the other versions. So it's Weird Tales of Terror. Yes, again. So this time, I removed a story because I feel like with the way the modern generations are, it's people are going to not read it in the manner it was intended. So I'm just saving myself a big fucking headache. I just take that out. And then I added why I wrote the stories. So the stories that are included, I actually tell you a little bit about them and why I wrote them or how they came to be written or whatever. Each one's different. So yeah, so that'll be out. And then Andrew said they're also publishing Horror Writers Cookbook. So he's hoping to have that ready for Frightmare in the Falls as well. So Weird Tales of Terror will have a cool new cover because I'm not designing it. It's a Great Lakes Horror Company product, so we know it'll look good instead of my horrific displays. And last year, Andrew Robertson and I co-wrote, or we did a collection. So we each, I don't know if you call that co-writing or whatever, but we're in Dearly Departed. So he contributed 7 stories. I contributed 6. And these were all previously published stories. Some of them are slightly different versions of the ones that were published, and they're all published in places you can never find. So you might as well get that book, and you get them all. So you get 13 stories, horror stories, and most of them are queer. And what else? Oh, yeah. So at the Great Lakes Horror Company booth at Frightmare in the Falls in October, just before Halloween, I will be reading tarot. I have decided I will, in fact, read tarot. I usually do anyways. I wasn't sure if I would this year. I haven't been doing a lot of tarot. I didn't do a lot during that thing we shall not name for the last 3 years. So, but now I'm getting back in the saddle, but there hasn't been a lot of, so I think because I was away for so long, people are hesitant to contact me for a reading. I had taken down my thing on Fiverr. Everything was shut down, but I've reactivated my Fiverr if anyone wants a tarot reading. And I've added the tarot readings to the SephraGerone.ca website. So you don't have to go look for the Tarot Paths blogspot.com website if you want to order a tarot reading. So the one on my website, which you pay through PayPal, so that's better for me financially because I get all the money except for whatever PayPal is going to charge us. However, I do understand that people might be reluctant to, especially if you don't know me, you'd be reluctant to do that. So you can go through the Fiverr website and order tarot reading there with the safety of the Fiverr platform and their guarantees and refunds and that sort of thing. So you can feel more secure working with them if you like. So you have 2 options for the tarot readings, and a third if you come to Frightmare in the Falls. I will read tarot for you. It'll probably be $20. That's usually what I charge there. So yeah, quick $20 reading. The length of the reading depends on the question or what comes up, how many cards we pull, and all that sort of stuff, And if you've had readings from me before, you know how it goes. So yes, I'll definitely have the tarot readings at Frightmare. And then also, another thing I've been doing is I started a Poshmark store. Poshmark.ca platform. And so I have a closet on Poshmark, and I'm Sephra666. I'm at Sephra666 or Sephra G period. And then I've started a new YouTube channel for that closet, and it's called Goth Mother's Closet or something like that. A Goth Mother, Gothmother. I do kind of call the Poshmark closet the Goth Mother's Closet, but I wasn't able to actually name it that on Poshmark. You get to change your name once, and someone else has that name or something. Anyways, I may try to change that, but I've been on Poshmark a while now, so it might change all the things, and I don't want to lose things. I think it changes your chats, and I don't know. So Sephora 666. ERA, not Sephora, not Safia, Sephora, ERA, Equal Rights Amendment. Seph, ERA. There you go. And it's a PH, like elephant. So I'm as big as an elephant. Anyways, so why I'm bringing up Poshmark. So what I'd like to impart to you is that I do have a new Poshmark closet. And if you are coming to Frightmare in the Falls and you have seen something on my closet, but you're not sure if, you're a little unsure about it, email me like at my regular email, and ask me to bring it so you can look at it, and I will. So you can check it out and we can make a deal there about the product. I will be bringing some of the jewelry, like jewelry that may or may not be on the Poshmark closet. I always sell jewelry at Frightmare in the Falls. And it's usually, crystals and weird rings and all that kind of stuff, necklaces. And so I will be doing that again. And books, of course. I have some backlist. And then also I have just put up on my Poshmark closet, I ran across some House of Pain, Birds and the Bees, the original Leisure Book paperbacks. So I'm selling those on Poshmark. But if you want one, again, just let me know and I will bring it to Frightmare in the Falls. Okay? And then the final thing I wanted to share with you, if you're even still here. Oh, I'm a babbler now. I've started a Substack, and I know I'm really late to that parade too. I know a lot of writers are already they're on eBay and Poshmark. They've been doing that for years. They just don't tell anyone, Or like Billy Martin, who runs a great business on this Billy use Ruby Lane. The thing with Canada is we don't have quite the same opportunities as the States, and some of the platforms you guys have, we don't even have, or if we have, it's so outrageous to ship things, or the cost to like US to Canadian and all these things, can be kind of shitty. So I'm hoping Poshmark CA will, eventually connect that we can ship things to the States through, like, without being convoluted and weird. But anyways, that's not what so I've started a Substack, and I am writing a novel on Substack. So if you've been waiting to hear if I'm doing any actual writing with all this other crap going on, yes, I am. I am writing a novel. It's called Serial Vlogger. It's an idea I've been playing with for many years. It had an incarnation as a whole different novel. I didn't get very far into it. I only wrote a couple chapters. I've had different ideas I've been playing with. But now I think I'm going to settle on Serial Vlogger and kind of the route I'm taking right now on it. So what I'm doing on Substack is it's like literally tiny little slices. Figure, hey, it's a serial killer novel. Why not slice it up? So the first entry is about 2,000 words to try and get you oriented to like the genre and the style I'm using to write and that sort of thing. And then, but going forward, each entry will be about 600 to 1,000 words. So it's literally tiny little slices. And I'm going to post it every week on Sunday. And for now, it's free. While I play with this experiment. And at that rate, it's going to take a year. You figure if a novel is the smallest novels are like a novella is about 50,000 words. And if I'm only writing like 1,000 words a week, 50 weeks in a year. So that'll either be a full novella or half a book. We'll see. We'll see how long this story is. In my mind, I've always visioned it at about 85,000 words. And so what I may do too is if it's picking up traction, I probably will like do 1 or 2,000 words a week as I get more momentum with it. I do have, like I said, I do have a chapter or so done so far. So, but I'm not that far ahead. But that's my new experiment. And then also on Substack, I'm really, now that my dad is dead, I feel a little more free. I can talk about some things because he reads everything I write. It probably still does, but I don't have to look him in the eye anymore. So I'm getting a little bit political over there. And my focus is not to be a shithead or even like liberal versus conservative or anything like that, but I'm just really trying to educate some of the younger generations about women and women's rights. That's one kind of series of articles, my observations. I'll talk about, I've only written a couple so far, but I'll talk about something, then I kind of frame it into, the world hasn't always been this way, how it is in 2023. And you can't always judge people and actions by your 2023 lens when something happened like in the 70s or the 60s. Times are different, and they were. So you can't, with the education we have now about gay rights, trans rights, languaging, how we speak to each other, these things evolve through generations and always have and always will historically, right? So the idea I'm trying to impart on Substack is we're learning as we go, and we have to try not to go backwards. But in erasing history or banning history or rewriting history, like rewriting books, we can't point to the classics and say this was a classic in its time, but now we need to move on and have new classics that are more relevant to the modern time, because classics are old. But instead, the current generations, and I don't mean like the kids these days, but whoever's doing it right now in 2023, rewriting famous works of literature, Dr. Seuss or Roald Dahl and all that, for their racism or their languaging and things like this, instead of leaving them alone and saying, look, this was entertainment in the 80s or whatever, but now we need to move on from that because our culture has changed. Our attitudes have changed. We're more tolerant and embracing, or we use different words now to explain these things. And so we look at these as classics, as products of their time, and now we're moving on to products of now and for future generations to build upon. But if we just keep erasing and canceling, soon in a couple of generations, there won't be the opportunities to learn from the past because the past won't be there anymore. And certainly I'm not advocating for some of the really horrific things. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. That someone will twist my words, I'm sure. Anyways, so Substack, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I also want to write about ghost hunting on there, tarot, metaphysical things. I want to explore fun things, entertainment. I wrote about Mandalorian and actually, I'm going to, revive my YouTube videos. So I'll probably do more pop culture ones now. I'm watching Ahsoka. Yeah, I'm still the nerd I was. For a few years there, it was too much to do anything. But I'm back, and I'm back in black. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so have a fantastic day. I'm sure nobody's here anymore. But yeah, so that's Zephrah's World is doing lots of things. And yep, like, share, and subscribe, because I will actually be doing things from now on. So get your own solstice, equinox energy, riveting, and see what you've built over the past year and what you can build upon moving forward and share. And oh, one last thing I want to leave you with is I was listening to a podcast of one of the screenwriters who wrote Toy Story, and he had amazing advice. I did write it down somewhere, but I didn't think I was going to say it now. And his advice was, how everyone's rushing to get things done. And, oh, yeah, I can get that to you in a minute, like as a screenwriter or whatever. His thing is, no, sometimes you need to sit and think. You got to let it gel. You got to let it wash over you. You got to let it sit. So don't always rush for everything. Let it take its time. And of course, if you know anything about Toy Story, it took 7 years for them to actually make the script. So, but you see what happened, and with regard to that, how many transformations that script took, and to the beauty that it ended up being. So, don't be hard on yourself if you think you didn't do anything this year. There's more time. You just you can change your thoughts right now and make a little list of what do you want to do. If you could do anything in the world, what would it be? And see if you can manifest that. All right. So I will see you soon, sooner than 3 years. Bye.